past couple of years, we've seen so many fantastic franchises be rebooted and modernized, and developers or producers say that they just wanted to refresh their work and make it feel a little bit more mature. But now, of course, we are hearing the series producer say Dynasty Warriors Origins focused on balanced sex appeal that didn't compromise the female characters' roles and backgrounds, when really they're admitting that they sidelined sex appeal and fan service to push a more serious tone. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I understand when you have a franchise, the next entry within it is going to feel a bit more modern, a bit fresher, a bit livelier. But unfortunately, while you're trying to progress your franchise and a story or characters, you are really just leaving what made it special in the past. And unfortunately, a lot of people were not big fans of Dynasty Warriors Origins. It has been considered successful, but at the same time, it hasn't seemingly, at least from what we understand, done the numbers that they were kind of expecting. And now the series producer is basically admitting that they sidelined fan service for a more serious tone, which of course is not going to sit well with a lot of people. This is a Automaton article. It says Dynasty Warriors Origins producer and Omega Force leader Tomehiko Sho, hope I'm saying that right, recently talked about the dev team's attitude towards fan service in a candid three-way discussion. And while Origins features less fan service compared to some past entries in terms of sexualized female character designs, less jiggle physics, and the like, there was no direct intent to tone down the sexiness per se. So you're already getting into them trying to defend this individual, and I'm sure that it wasn't just their decision, but the entire team's decision, though ultimately Koei Tecmo has been going down a very bad road over the past couple of years, which I'll get into in just a minute, but it basically boils down to having an ethics department that kind of looks over developers' shoulders. They're chasing ESG dollars. Very unfortunate news regarding the kind of state of the industry, and so many companies are doing the same. It says they explained as the team was focused on refining the game's tone, things that didn't fit into the concept naturally got filtered out. When it came to portraying the characters, their personalities, and dialogue, we aimed for a serious and straight-laced approach. We wanted to bring out the full appeal of the romance of the Three Kingdoms and create a story that felt immersive. I guess sexy elements took a backseat as a natural outcome of that. Now, it doesn't really make sense to me that when you have so many entries in a franchise that do something, and then all of a sudden that is left in the background. You're not really going to convince me, and of course many other people, that that wasn't done intentionally. Like, oh, the sexy element just naturally took a backseat. Like, somebody had to design these characters, somebody had to write their dialogue, somebody had to come up with the way that they were going to interact with other characters. Like, clearly you put a lot of thoughts and ultimately intentions into these characters, and you're just trying to convince us now that, oh, this wasn't as important. Citing examples such as Sun Shizhang and Dio-chan, Sho commented that forcing the characters into overly sexualized roles wouldn't have fit into Omega Force's vision for Origins. Now, I did live stream this game, and I had a good time with it. Don't get me wrong, I liked quite a lot of the characters, but it definitely was a different experience. It says that one of the characters plays a vital and serious role in the story, so we had a clear direction in mind for her from the start. We gave her a special background, such as her early education in martial arts, so we wanted her to look like someone who could realistically fight. Ding, ding, ding. In a fantasy game, in a non-realistic video game, right, where you are talking about you're basically dropping nukes on characters in terms of the damage that you're doing. You're one guy against 10,000 mobs, and they are worried about realistic portrayals. I'm sorry. You are not going to sell me personally on that angle. This is not a realistic game. in any way, shape, or form. The characters and the story are generally not realistic, and the things that you are doing within this game are not either. And the follow up comment to we wanted her to look like she could realistically fight is if we went overboard with fan service, it would feel weird during combat. So we tried to tone that down, which just hurts me so much when producers and developers and directors don't understand either what made their game special in the first place or what fans ultimately expect. You are talking about realism in a game where, again, you're fighting thousands upon thousands of mobs at a time. Here is just one small clip of what you are doing in the game. A realism argument does not work here. And this game is fun. And I do think there were quite a lot of people that ended up liking it. It was action packed. But on the flip side, you can't claim that a female character can't look sexy and then have a situation like this. It's just not a good reason. This comes across to me as, of course, them chasing a modern audience, another Japanese company chasing a global audience. And unfortunately, that means female characters who are toned down. They are not allowed to be sexy. They are not allowed to be sexualized in any way, shape, or form. And they're not really allowed to flaunt their femininity, which is, of course, very, very unfortunate. But when you know the history of Koei Tecmo, this probably isn't going to be that shocking because they had created in 2023 a dedicated quality assurance team to handle, quote, everything from functional bugs to local culture and social issues. So they have a dedicated team that scrolls social media and who looks at how sensitive snowflakes online react to certain content, probably in other games, some of their own, some of in the general industry, and then they tell them what they can and cannot put in a game. It says, following in the footsteps of Square Enix and their infamous ethics department, veteran Japanese video game studio Koei Tecmo have moved to create a new internal team dedicated to raising the social quality of their products. Now, I've talked about Squeenix and their ethics department a lot. They have this internalized ethics department where basically there are some individuals who look over the shoulders of developers and tell them to alter their content and tell them what could be seen as offensive or what could actually work in their game. It's basically a built-in sweet baby ink. And it's unfortunate to hear that this is happening with so many Japanese companies. I mean, I think that they are doing this because they want to sell their games to a Western audience. And so what they are doing is they are trying their very best to ultimately create content that could be sold in this market. I've talked about this a lot on the channel, though. This is not why JRPGs became extremely popular in the first place. This is not why a lot of Americans, in this case, end up buying Japanese video games. We buy them because they are different, because they are not more of the same Western slop we have been getting. But these companies are definitely more interested in trying to sell to a global audience, and they're not really listening to what we have to say. Amidst their various financial and corporate governance reports, they also shone a spotlight on their work in achieving various environmental, social, and corporate governance benchmarks and sustainable development goals. According to their list of work in this field, the publisher's efforts for this commitment include adherence to industry guidelines and ratings, addressing gaming addiction and gacha issues, and of course, most notably, is their dedication also extends to raising the social quality of their products. So unfortunately, they are, knee deep in the quote realization of SDGs and ESG initiatives, and that has changed their company significantly since 2023. So they have unfortunately been a company over the past couple of years that I and many other people have not been able to blindly support. And now that we are finding out that this individual is talking about how they focused on balanced sex appeal instead of fan service, that of course made them pretty popular in the first place, and they are no longer focusing on sexy elements and they put those on the back seat to push a more serious tone. There are a lot of gamers who are not happy with this. Koei is heavy in ESG criteria, and we've seen them embracing that agenda until 2030. Nothing new. They want to bring in the modern audience. What is it about all the game devs who pander to DEI that make the exact same statement? Is this a new religion? Unfortunately, a lot of the gaming development sphere act like they're part of a cult, like game journalists. They all act the same exact way. They all push the same exact agendas. It's like they are reading their cult pamphlet to push a point. People are also talking about how, unfortunately, this has happened with a lot of different companies. It's happened with a lot of different creatives, which isn't particularly shocking. Somebody points out female characters' role and backgrounds in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, laughing my ass off. The book is from the 14th century. Only one female character ever fights, and the rest are various damsels in distress or the warlord's wives. At one point, the main character leaves behind his wife and kids to not lose a battle because you can always remarry. It's treated by the book as a morally upright decision because for that time period it was. Hope the game doesn't compromise about this somehow. I doubt it. Yeah, basically every single female has agency, which of course could be fine, but you can also have gay romances within this game. And again, the gameplay itself is fine. It gets quite repetitive after a while, which isn't particularly shocking, but ultimately this is still a very controversial comment that they have made, and I think that over the next couple of days we are going to see a lot more people paying attention to what Koei has done in talking about the situation, because it is pretty new. But this just, of course, does not sit well with me. Of course, it does not sit well with a lot of people, so I'll be keeping my eye on this, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.